Hi everyone! Today we're talking drawing techniques. Oftentimes when working on a design project, you'll need to sketch out ideas, and having some of these concepts handy will help your sketches communicate your ideas more effectively. Namely, we'll focus on drawing with perspective, or representing objects as three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface like paper, trying to mimic what the human eye sees. There are two main types of perspective drawing, 1-point and 2-point. 1-point perspective is when we have one vanishing point. A vanishing point is a spot at which receding parallel lines viewed in perspective seem to converge. A good real-life example of this is looking down a long road that disappears straight into the horizon. We know that the sides of the road are parallel, but as the road continues on into the distance, the space between the sides gets smaller and smaller until they converge at a single point in the distance. That's our vanishing point, otherwise denoted as VP. Why would we choose to use 1-point perspective? Well, it simplifies some things. All lines are either vertical, horizontal, or vanishing, and 90-degree angles are maintained on the front face of the object. This comes in handy when viewing things head-on or drawing spaces like rooms. Two-point perspective is when we have two vanishing points. A real-life example of this is a building. Now, lines can be vertical, vanishing into VP1, or vanishing into VP2. Only vertical lines remain parallel. This is a much more versatile perspective and tends to look a little more normal to the human eye. When picking a perspective, think about what you want to communicate with your sketch. What features of the object are important to show? Is it more descriptive and holistic? There's even 3-point perspective, but that tends to get needlessly complicated quickly. It adds distortion to vertical lines as well, giving an exaggerated appearance. Regardless of which perspective you choose, start by sketching your horizon line. This often represents the viewer's eye level. Get a sense of where you want your object to be and add your vanishing points. The closer the vanishing points are to your object, the more intense the distortion will be. So what about the way we often draw cubes? That's actually an isometric projection, not a perspective drawing. In an isometric drawing, all of the sides of the cube remain parallelograms, which gives the illusion of volume even though that's not what we'd see in real life. It's super common in engineering drawings. For more complicated objects, or objects with complex curves, there are several tricks to help maintain perspective. We might make a more in-depth video about that in the future, but for now, think about drawing a cube to hold the entire object and sectioning off the different proportions. Keep track of the object's center line, or an imaginary line that runs down the middle of your object, following all its contours. Similarly, ellipses get flatter as you near the horizon line. A lot of designers will use an ellipse template, like this one I 3D printed, to keep their shapes nice and even. We can see this in real life when looking at a can of WD-40. Even if you don't sketch out the horizon line and vanishing points every time, try to visualize where they'd be. It'll help focus your sketches and make them a little more realistic. I hope this gave you some new things to consider when sketching your design ideas. Thanks for watching!